This week's video is going to be on Hackle, using it and how you tie it in. Now Hackle is basically a wing feather. So it's going to have a bigger stem, it's going to be a longer feather, and you know, it's most of these feathers like you see like this, most of them come white and then they are dyed to different colors, like the chartreuse to pinks. All of you colors are dyed. But then you also have natural colors, like this pink. That is also a hackle feather, because it's a wing feather. If you notice on the bottom, that's where it comes out of the wing. And most of them are tied the same way. This one's got thick barbs on it. The hackle off of a chicken does not have that much thickness. Now you'll get some every once in a while that's a lot thicker than that, but most of the time they're basically in that line. And you can get strung hackle, you can get the saltwater hackle, which is normally a longer feather and they're normally thicker, but they're also normally higher than the strung hackle. So that's your hackles. Now I'm going to show you how to tie and what we use with them. We're going to tie a 1/32. This jig is one of my color jigs, combo jigs that I make. It's the RB-PB-132. Let me break that down for you. RB is a ruby head. That's where the RB comes from. P is going to have a purple body, which is this color. B is going to be a black. So that's basically when I'm putting a number onto a jig or a fly, I try to make me a chart and know what that RB stands for, the P and the B. So that's what this is. It's a RB-PB-132. We're going to be using purple 140-aught thread. You can use 220. All right, let's get this tied on. Cross. Start wrapping right behind the head. I'm going to pull that in a little bit so you can see what's going on with that. And you use your tag in for a guide. And you're just following that guide all the way down. And just keep going till you get to the hook point, which is right there. And then you can just come back up to the head, back down about center, put your backward spins on it, counterclockwise. All right, this one is going to have a black tail, like I said. And what I'm going to do, that one I've already cut the tip off of, so I'm going to show you on a chartreuse feather, because I've already got the black piece laying down here that we're going to use. Okay, using this chartreuse feather as a guide, let me open it back up a little bit. What I'm going to do is 32nd, like I told you before, my finger joints, that's the 32nd, and that's the 1/16. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to measure my from a 1/32, and I'm going to clip that feather right there off the tip. And then that is the piece that you're going to use on the fly. So I'm going to get my black piece back up here. I'm going to fold the barbs backwards to give me that point, and I'm going to push it right behind the jig head, and then I'm going to tie it down. Alright, all this other feather, that is not waste. So what we're going to do, we're going to cut this into V's. And the reason they're called V's, if you'll see where that was cut out, it's shaped like a V. So what I like to do is cut them about a 1/2 inch long and just use that whole feather up, cutting them pieces. And like I said, that's a V. See, it's forming a V yet. And go all the way up this this feather until you get to the thick stuff, and then stop, and then you'll have all this to tie with. All right, I'm going to show you what that looks like. Now, once you stack 4, 5, 6, whatever it takes, because what you're trying to do is get the thick barbs, about where it's going to fill your jig up. All right, and then I'm going to do them the same way. I'm going to put them on my finger joint, and then I'm going to cut it right to the tip of my finger, and I'm going to tie them right on top of the hook and bring it back down all the way back to the hook point again. Now, how I choose my colors, let me explain that a little bit. Each color is going to work different at different times. This jig, I designed it to be used in muddy water or first thing in the mornings when the low light is going on. And the reason I picked black is because I love a black jig in the mornings. The purple works the same as the black. And all this is from testing jigs. This ain't just something, oh, I like this pretty color. When you finish a jig, you go out and test it. And you'll find most of you jigs may catch fish, but there's going to be a few that works constantly every time you go out. And that's the colors that you're combining. So when you make a combination of a jig, test it, because if it don't test good, don't waste your time tying them. So what I'm going to do is use a gold flash in it. The gold is the same way. It's working good in muddy water and it's working good in low light. But you can also make it a combination to where you can use it on a bright day. But you're using a lot lighter feathers than this black here. And that was about 5 pieces of the flash. That's crystal flash. All right, we're going to use a purple mix chenille. And like always, we're going to tie it right behind the head, and then just kind of stitch it down to the hook point, then come all the way back up behind the head. All right, we're going to wrap it under, coming to you, and over. Under, over, under, over, under, over. Now we're all the way up against that head. So we're just going to take the thread and catch it, and wrap it a couple times. Then we're going to come right under that body and we're going to clip it. Alright, then we're going to put some head cement on that thread and run it up like that. See, I didn't put a whole lot on it, but there's enough to really tie that head off together. Then we're going to whip finish it, which is a catch, come over the top, fold around, make that 4, upside down 4, wrap it, 1, 2, 3, push it off that end and pull it back, and that's your finished jig. So this week I want you to work with hackle feathers. Don't matter what color they are, and these jigs you're learning to tie, so it don't matter about the colors. They don't have to match. What I want you to do is spend time on the vise. Spend time on the vise using hackle feathers, and they can be just straight chicken feathers off of somebody's farm that you know. Now, let me warn you, songbirds, do not pick up songbird feathers. It is against the law. It's a federal law. You cannot tie with a songbird feathers. So don't even get the hicken to go out there and pick up a blue jay feather and start tying it. Don't do that. It's against the law. So, but get you some hackle feathers and practice cutting that tip off like the 1/32. The reason I started with this is because it's a shorter cut, and you can really get a lot of V's out of this piece. But as you're cutting them, as you're cutting them V's, If you cut them about a 1/2 inch long, and I'm going to come down here and I'm going to start stacking them on my finger, matching them up. And sometimes, if the feather's got a lot of barbs on it, it won't take 2 or 3 feathers. Sometimes it takes more. Now see, that's 3 V's right there together. The ends are all together right there. So, and see, I don't make a real thick feather, so you're gonna need more V's on that one. But that's the idea of it, and that's the process of it. So this week, practice using your hackle feathers and tying them in, and using your V's and stacking them to make them all the same size, but where you'll have a nice, full looking jig. I'll see you next week.